Hello everyone, welcome back to Surekha Azure Hybrid Academy. Today we will discuss about ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services. This is the heart of the Active Directory infrastructure. ADDS is the core server role that transforms a Windows server into a domain controller. Here, like if you want to promote any of the server as a domain controller, you have to install ADDS on that server and then you have to configure that ADDS. Then only that server promotes as domain controller. Okay, it hosts the ntds.dit database. Whenever you are configuring ADDS, ntds.dit file will be configured. This is the database file. Okay, it will locate in C Windows ntds folder. This database file will be created. Okay, like wherever you will install, like if you installed operating system in D drive, that will be in D drive Windows ntds folder will be created. Inside that ntds folder, this ntds.dit database will be created. Okay, it is a structured repository of every object in the domain, like users. We are telling about like users, objects, computers, everything will be stored in this database file, and it runs the Kerberos key distribution center service that handles all authentication tickets. This Kerberos is the authentication protocol. Okay, it handles all authentication tickets. Without ADDS, there is no domain, no centralized login, and no group policy enforcement. Here, like authentication, Kerberos version 5 and NTLM, these are the authentication protocols. Kerberos version 5 is the default protocol. Like when a user logs in, the Kerberos distribution center issues a ticket. This granting ticket will be valid for 10 hours by default. Okay, the NTLM is used as a fallback for legacy systems or when Kerberos is unavailable. NTLM is also one of the authentication protocol. When Kerberos is not available, this NTLM will come into the picture. Okay, authorization, ACLs and group membership. After authentication, ADDS checks the user's security identifier. Like whenever we create any user or any object in the AD, it will assign one ticket number, like it will, that is called SID, security identifier, and group memberships against access control list on each resource. Access is granted or denied at the object level down to individual files, printers or OUs. Okay, like whenever you are giving the authentication, is it a valid security identifier or not? Based on that, it will decide I have to give the access or I have to deny the access. Security management. It enforces organizational security policies via group policy and account controls across the domain. Here we can create group policies on organizational units. Okay, so that you can assign the policies you can enforce the policies on your desktops. For example, if you see in your organization, for all the desktops there will be same wallpaper will be there. That will be enforced from the group policies. And also, like when you are trying to reset the password, there will be complexity is there, like right, capital letter should be there, and one special character, one number should be there, and minimum these many like 12 minimum 12 alphabets are there. That complexity is there, right? That complexity we can enforce from the group policy. For all the using group policies, we can control the systems. What ADDS stores? It stores users data, computers data, groups data, and policies, whatever we are enforcing using group policy objects. That policies also stored in this ADDS database file. ADDS services. Active Directory services. Active Directory is more than just ADDS. Microsoft has built a family of directory services that extend identity, security, and access management capabilities across the modern enterprise. Each service addresses a specific use case in the identity and security lifecycle. ADDS domain services, the core identity service providing authentication, authorization, and centralized object management, as we spoke earlier. Okay, ADCS certificate services, it issues and manages digital certificates for encryption, authentication, and code signing. For all certificates issues, right, that will be taken care by ADCS. ADFS, it is the federation services. It enables single sign-on across organizational boundaries and web applications. If you want to enable single sign-on on login, then you can use this ADFS, federation services, you can use it. Okay, ADLDS, lightweight directory services. It provides directory access for applications that don't require full domain infrastructure. Wherever you don't need that full domain infrastructure, then you can use ADLDS. ADRMS, Rights Management Service. It protects sensitive documents and emails by controlling who can view or who can edit or forward them. That all will be taken care by ADRMS, Rights Management Services. Forests and domains. Here we will understand the logical structure that organizes the entire Active Directory environment. Active Directory forest. Forest is the highest level logical boundary in Active Directory. It is the ultimate security and administrative container. All domains within a forest share a common schema, configuration, and global catalog. Every Active Directory deployment has at least one forest, and every forest has exactly one root domain. For example, if you have only one domain controller is there, you are using only company.com, that is the forest this is the forest root. Okay, this is the forest, this is the domain controller. Or so at least one forest will be there in each domain in the organization. So if you will take only one single domain controller is there in your organization, then there only that if you will call company.com, you configured it as company.com, that is also called as forest, and in that forest, that is the domain. If you have branches, multiple branches, for example, you say US one branch is there, UK one branch is there, in India you have one branch is there, then it is the there is the forest company.com, and these all are the child domains. US, UK, India, these all are the child domains, we will call it. These all are shared configuration partition. Like here we will discuss about FSMO roles later. We have those will be taken care of. This replication topology and everything will be taken care by FSMO roles. What a forest contains: multiple domains, shared schema, shared configuration partition, global catalog servers, automatic two-way trust between all domains. Trust relay. See here, you have forest company.com is there. Okay, this is also called as domain, company.com root. Okay, these are the sales.com, HR company.com, IT company.com. These all are called as child domains. We will call it as child domains. So in every forest we have domain is there. Inside the domain we have childs, we can call it child domains. These, okay. Child domains are subordinate domains within the same forest hierarchy. They share the parent domain's namespace and are automatically connected via a two-way transitive trust. Organizations use child domains to delegate administration, enforce different security policies, or reflect geographic or departmental boundaries. Scalability: easily add new domains as the organization grows without restructuring the entire forest. So here if you want to add one more branch, you can take one domain controller in that branch and you can configure ADDS in that, and you can add it as child domain in the existing forest itself. So there is a scalability is there here. So no need to change the infrastructure. You can without disturbing the existing infrastructure, you can add one more child domain in that forest. Administrative separation: delegate full control of a child domain to local IT teams while maintaining forest level governance. So you can give full control of a domain to local IT teams. In each branch there will be admins will be there, right? For them you can delegate full control on that particular child domain so that they can maintain that domains. Geographic organization: represent physical office location. For example, us.company.com, eu.company.com with separate policies. Here you can provide, using that group policy, you can provide separate group policies in each domain. There is no necessary to provide the same policies on the forest, and that policies has to apply in all the child domains. There is no necessity. It is based on the company policies. We can provide it. We can assign permissions from the forest level or from the domains level based on our requirements. We can separate the policies as well. Trust relationships. How domains securely share resources and authenticate users across boundaries. Trust relationships define which domains can authenticate users from other domains and access shared resources. Without trust, each domain is an isolated security boundary. With trusts, users in one domain can seamlessly access resources in another, all while maintaining security controls. See, here we have different trust levels are there. Parent-child trust automatically creates when a child domain is added two-way transitive trust between parent and child domains. For example, you have company.com is there. And child domain, you have us.company.com, there is a child domain is there. So there is a two-way transitive trust relationship will be there. That by default it will be added. So whenever you are creating users on child domain, that data will be replicated to the parent domain and from parent domain to child domain. That two-way transitive trust relationship will be there. Forest trust connects two separate AD forests, enables resource sharing across entirely different organizations or divisions. You have two forests. Here we are, as of now, we talked about parent and child domains. But here we are speaking about two different forests. For example, company.com is one forest and other forest is corporate.local is the other forest is there. So these things generally when it will happen, if any of the two companies are merging, these their domain and this domain, these two companies domains forest will be joined, right? That time this forest trust will come into the picture in a real time scenarios. Okay, so here like we have company.com forest is there, and here one more forest is corporate.local forest is there. If you want to replicate these two forests, you have to do the forest trusting. That is two separate AD forest enable resources. So from here, whenever you are creating users in this domain, in this forest, the data will be replicated into the other forest. This is called forest trust. External trust, a one-way or two-way trust with a domain outside the forest, non-transitive, used for legacy or isolated environments. It is the differently separate, like outside forest. If you want to replicate like one-way traffic, then you can use this external trust. Shortcut trust optimizes authentication paths in complex forest structures, reducing latency for cross-domain logins. This is for reducing the latency purpose. We are using this shortcut trust. Trust direction and transitivity. Trust direction. We talked about that one-way traffic and two-way, right? One way means domain A trust domain B. Users in B can access resources in A, but not vice versa. So this is one way trust relationship. See, domain A trusts domain B. If you enable this trust relationship, users in domain B, they can access resources in domain A, but not from domain A to domain B. Two-way trust relationship means both domains trust each other. Authentication flows in both directions, means domain A, users can access resources in domain B, and domain B, users can access resources in domain A. Vice versa, it will happen. Transitive trust flows through the chain. If A trusts B and B trusts C, then A trusts C automatically. It is a three-way, like trust flows through a chain, like A, B, C is there. A trust B, B trust C, means C trusts A. Non-transitive trust is limited to the two explicitly named domains only. So it is strictly from these two domains. This is limited to two explicitly named domains only. Domain controllers, the servers that run Active Directory and serve every authentication request in the domain. So earlier we spoke about the domain controller. If you want to promote any of the server as a domain controller, we have to install ADDS, I told, right? That is domain controller. Here, while a single domain controller can technically run an AD domain, production environments should always deploy multiple DCs. Additional DCs replicate the same directory database and share the authentication workload, provides the fault tolerance and performance that enterprise networks require. Here, for redundancy purpose, we can in the same branch we can use two domain controllers, primary domain controller and secondary domain controller. So it will for redundancy purpose, if one domain controller primary is down, that secondary will take its place and it will act as primary. So that is the redundancy purpose. We can use two domain controller or more domain controllers. We can use load balancing, means if there is many there is a huge traffic is there, for that load balancing purpose also we can use that multiple domain controllers. Fault tolerance, if there is any hardware failures happen in one domain controller, then other domain controller will act as primary. So for fault tolerance and for load balancing purpose, for redundancy purposes, we can use multiple domain controllers. Read-only domain controller. A read-only domain controller hosts a read-only copy of that AD database. It was specially designed for deployment in branch offices, remote sites, or locations with limited physical security, where placing a full writable DC would introduce unacceptable risk. Means in some of the branches, we have limited security, limited physical security is there. In those cases, we can use this read-only domain controller. Here, like why we need this read-only domain controller, we can use that in other location. For example, in Chicago you have one domain controller is there, and you have the branch office in somewhere like in far distance in some Wisconsin or somewhere you have the branch office. But there is no much security, physical security is not there. Then you can use this read-only domain controller. This, why we are using it, for latency purpose we can use this read-only domain controller. These features, read-only domain controller features are read-only replica of AD database, unidirectional replication from hub DC, credential caching for local users, administrator role separation. Means here for that admin no need to give full rights. You can no need to give the permissions to the admin, because this is the read-only domain controller. So there is, because there is a physical limited physical security is there, there is a risks will be there. That is the reason we are using this read-only domain controller. So here we cannot write any AD data on that domain controller. Read-only domain controller, writable DC. See, read-only database, branch office using purpose we will use it, high security risk and tolerance. Writable domain controller, full read-write database. Here you can create the users and you can manage the users, you can update group policies, whatever, you can do it. Bidirectional replication. So here two-way replication will be there, but in read-only domain controller only from there that there is no data we are writing, right? This is only for low latency purpose or high security risk or tolerance. We are using this read-only domain controller. Secure physical access area, like this writable domain controller, generally we will place it in separate server rooms where we have physical security is there. Only in those places we will place these writable domain controllers. Global catalog, the forest-wide index that enables fast searches and cross-domain authentication. This global catalog server is a actually this global catalog is the special role that can be assigned to any domain controller. Generally it holds a full copy of all objects in its own domain, plus a partial replica of all objects in every other domain in the forest. For example, you have one domain with a name us.company.com is there. It holds that us.company.com domain data as well as that forest partial data. It will not keep the entire data, it will keep the just index file. We can it will keep the index data, so that whenever you are searching anything, if you are searching any user from other domain, that will you can get it in faster way due to this global catalog. Forest-wide object index, faster searching, cross-domain authentication. So it also helps for the cross-domain authentication. When a user logs in with a universal group membership, the group global catalog resolves their group memberships across all domains in the forest. And this is for faster searching. Applications like Microsoft Outlook use the global catalog to resolve names and email addresses across the entire organization instantly. forest-wide object index. It stores a subset of attributes for all objects across all domains, enables rapid lookups without contacting every DC in the forest. Here you can see, like for example, when you search for any of the name in Outlook, that query will goes to the global catalog server, so that you will get that ID immediately. It will not search in each and every individual domain controller, because that all forest data index is available in global catalog server, so it will give that ID immediately. Group policy. The group policies we are using for centralized control over users and computers across the entire domain. We will use this group policy. Group policy object. Group policy is one of the most powerful tools in Active Directory. It allows administrators to define and enforce configuration settings across all computers and users in the domain. From a single location, group policy objects are linked to sites, domains, or organizational units and are applied automatically when users log in or computers start up. For example, password complexity, as we told, that length, this 14 characters should be there, that length is there. For that we can use this group policy objects. Or lockdown in 3 minutes, for if you are using like 3 wrong passwords, your system has to be logged out. That lockdown policy. Or deploy softwares. We can deploy softwares using group policy objects. We can map the network drivers. We can configure Windows firewalls. We can restrict access to control panel, desktop, or whatever. We can use group policy objects to apply the security policies in the domain mission. In the users or groups or computers or printers, we can apply using these group policy objects. Generally, this group policy processing order, when you are any of the policy applied in the local, that applies first. If you in your local mission any of the group policy write in that local mission, that will apply, that will be having the lowest priority. Okay, that applies first. On top of that, that site, from site any of the policy applied, that will be applied on top of that site. On top of that, the domain-wide policy will be affected. On top of that, organizational unit policy will be affected. So OU is the most specific, highest priority. So local is the lowest priority and organizational unit is the highest priority. Here we can take that common security examples like account lockout, software deployment, drive mapping, or password policy. Those we can take it as examples.